Hey everybody, welcome back to the Unreal Engine livestream. I'm Alexander Packle, your community manager, and today with me is Mike Ficker, our technical director.
Hello.
All right, so we're back from GDC.
Yeah.
It was a wild ride.
It was a crazy show.
We gotta get back into the regular cadence of things. Take a deep breath. Let's go on to the news. Shelly, you know what to do. All right, everybody that's been paying attention has probably noticed that Preview 8 for 4.11 has gone out onto the launcher already. We've got these update notes here posted by Stephen Ellis, of course. We've got a lot of new features and fixes that went into Preview 8. You're going to have to come in and read this super massive long list yourself because it is very big, doing a lot, getting a lot done. So yeah, check out Preview 8, go in, tell us what's up. I think very, very, very shortly we'll have the actual release out. So.
Yeah, and a little later in the stream, I'm going to talk a bit more about kind of the main cool things that we think are in the release and probably even like some stuff that goes beyond that, like forward-looking later in the year, what we're doing in 4.12. So
that would be really cool.
Yep.
All right. Next up, Game Jam. So because GDC happened this month, remember we gave ourselves an extra week to have that where we knew we weren't going to be able to poll and judge and actually give it a good shot. So it'll be next week's live stream on the 31st where we actually tell you who's won and also who's gotten the Intel SSDs and all that. And, Shelly's coming in with the graphics. Nice. So yeah, we should very, very shortly have that up. It'll be next week, 31st stream. Come on there and then we'll tell you everything that's going down. It'll be a lot of fun. But I know a lot of people came in here expecting it to be after 2 weeks. But nope, give ourselves one more because, like I said, GDC took it out of all of us, man.
Excuse me. It's a little crazy how all-consuming GDC can be for the engine
nuts.
staff here. It's really like I was telling, I think, Vogel when I got back, it's just like, this is actually like my New Year's.
Yes.
Like after GDC, like everything builds to the end of the year, which is in March every year.
No, yeah, you're right. It's like it just washes over you, and then you're like washed clean of it, and it's over and it's done. But now that it's over with, see, during GDC it was me, Chance, and Jess. So all the people that normally go through, play, and judge the games were like running around constantly. So like I said, we gave ourselves a little extra time so that we can give you the time to actually like respectfully play through the games through. Again, you have just enough time to actually play through them properly and judge them. So next week we'll have it all in. Cool. Unreal Engine 4 Enterprise is a new initiative from Epic Games where we're working with a lot of different organizations for visualization projects. You might have seen, if you went to GDC, the McLaren. There was a literal McLaren sitting out there looking beautiful at our booth. That's because we've been working with them to do visualizations and actually like pre-rendering the car you're going to buy, stuff like that. You might have also seen the NASA announcements.
Yeah, the McLaren demo that we had at GDC was something else, right? Like Francois, Ryan, Alan, those guys all worked really hard to make this like McLaren that you could literally kind of take apart live. Like it wasn't just the shell, like in like a racing game.
Yep.
Like everything was inside the car, and you could do like a cross section of it. Even.
Oh yeah, there was
so cool.
There was one guy I walked up to, and he kept opening and closing the door, and I'm like, no, if you open the door, tilt it a little, you can see inside it. Jump inside the driver's seat, and now you're swapping out like all the different parts inside and seeing all the custom parts you can put in. And yeah, the cross section cut is just so cool.
Yeah, it's incredible.
It's like it's just amazing to see a car like snapped in half, and then you can choose your internal parts too.
They also put like a lot of like nice gamey kind of touches on it. Like there's audio effects when doors slam, and like you could explode the whole car out and see all the parts kind of and has suspension, so you turn the engine on, the car shakes a little bit. It's like really cool. It's like I wanted to make a racing game after that.
Yeah, you crank it up and you hear and then you see like the tailpipe kind of starts moving a little bit, just a subtle amount, so that you get the idea it's actually got energy to it.
We just can't help making things game-like even with Enterprise.
It's our style. What can I say? But yeah, and this is the picture of the NASA one, which I'm a huge space nerd, so I was like, oh, we're working with NASA. I have to keep that under wraps until we finally announce something, and now I'm so hyped to be able to talk about it. It's great. I really love that we're working with these guys. Very honorable stuff. So Enterprise, cool new initiatives from Epic Games. Boop. All right. So jump back to the happy. So again, this is a little bit funny. People might have heard about this Happy Meal box VR thing that has been happening, where you go down to McDonald's and now their Happy Meals have like a little was essentially kind of like the Google Cardboard, but it is their own kind of thing. And you go on, download these game apps. They're really funny. It's kind of interesting that this all went over so well. Like, I've been seeing people posting about it online a lot. It's just cool that we've been able to work on normalizing VR, I guess, getting it into the hands of regular people that aren't always on the side of things, which are, I feel like right out here we talk a lot about Vive and Oculus and all that, and the common layperson isn't going to immediately even know what those are. So this kind of just introduces people to it and gets them involved. And then there was also a painting experience that was more full-fledged that got worked on. So it's pretty fun. Really really cool artistic little thing that we got to put together with them. So alrighty. And then GDC, that happened. Actually, if you look right here, I know you guys can see it on the screen a little. So this guy right here, that's Nick Pfisterer. Nick is the guy who started Unreal Slackers, and he got a little cameo in some of our pictures from the booth. I thought that was really neat. So if you're not on Unreal Slackers, by the way, that is a fantastic group to join. Really good place to just have active live chat with other Unreal developers. So this is a new blog post that we have up, GDC 2016, a glimpse at the real-time future. It's kind of a recap of everything that happened, the things that we talked about, and more about the Dev Grants program that we've gotten to show off, more about the games that we actually showed off at the booth and at VRDC. VRDC was really pretty amazing. It was all Unreal Engine VR games. It was dozens of little experiences, as you can see, dozens of things that you can do. Dozens of people were receiving the grants. The VR editor, you guys got to announce that. That was huge.
It was a little nerve-wracking doing that.
Oh no.
I was locked in that ballroom for a few days just rehearsing and kind of figuring out what we were going to show and say, but it went over pretty well, I think.
It went over really great, I think. And I'm sure that has to be because that you're the guy who's showing off the first of its kind, brand spanking new. And
the VR editors, it's really fun actually. There's one thing I realized after we showed it. So we had it in our booth, and Valve was nice enough to actually host us in their booth as well. So we were showing it in two places at GDC. So we had probably maybe up to 100 people total try it out there at the show, and it was really insightful, right? Because before then, a lot of people, we'd shown it on the stream, and we've had some level designers and folks here try it, but we hadn't had a lot of feedback from just people who maybe weren't even used to 3D editors or media or press or just even level designers at other companies. Just seeing their feedback was we came back with so many more ideas.
Yeah, I'm sure you have a massive list of bullet points of this and that and ideas and
we had massive
and all kinds of stuff.
We had massive lists before, but now there's just so much.
Oh wow.
But that's cool.
Yeah, I was so impressed with it. I know I'm a huge fan, and like you said out there, it is now available on GitHub, right?
Yeah.
They can get this very raw version of it. Remember, pretty raw, but it works. It's all cool.
Yeah, all the latest stuff that we have is now reflected live to GitHub. If you want to see it, just go to the regular Unreal Engine GitHub site, and in the dropdown, there's a branch dropdown where you normally have master release, all the legacy releases. You can now just choose VR editor there, and you'll have the stuff that we're checking in right now, when we're working on new features.
Yeah, I was talking to Yannick just before the stream, and I was talking to him about some of the things that are kind of happening in it, and he goes, literally anything I'm doing right now, 2 minutes later will be on GitHub.
Yep.
There's no real wait, If you can wait the whole 2 minutes, you're good.
And some people have been trying it out and giving us good feedback already.
That's excellent.
It's awesome.
Yeah,
this is a highly experimental, very forward-looking feature, right? We're not kidding ourselves. We don't expect people to come to work with this feature, put the HMD on and work 12 hours with the hat on all day. This is very forward-looking, and it's more we look at it as a way to improve approachability of the editor, because everyone tries to find, wow, I can actually do level layout and basic editor features without having to be an expert at CAD programs.
No.
And it also we want VR developers to be able to work faster, and we get that feedback all the time in VR development. In current 4.10 and 4.11 Unreal Engine, you can preview VR easily in the editor, but you're always playing as the character. You're playing the game when you preview VR.
Oh, yeah.
So this feature gives you instant access to kind of being a VR God mode character that can fly around. You can get around anywhere. You can move, rotate. You can edit properties of objects. You can bring up most of the editor UI.
Yeah. And you're always working to expose more of it too that you can do within the VR space.
Yeah.
And what's really impressive to me is just that you immediately have that sense of scale, because that's always a problem in VR space, because you set up this room, it's gorgeous. I can't tell you how many of these, like the early VR demos you'd get into, and like, whoa, that cup feels massive, and this table, like I feel like a tiny...
door handle's not at the right height on the door.
Yeah, like the door is like, yeah, like in a game, I understand why you maybe make the door handle a little higher, so that when you go up to the door, you know, like the door handle, you can see it in your view turning. But here, no, that's not how that works. Yeah, so very cool, very impressive tech. Speaking of impressive tech, we also had the Hellblade demo, which was a fun reveal, because you know Ninja Theory's guys are up there talking about how it's like, yeah, real-time face capture, and then they kind of drop the curtain, and there's the actress standing up there actually acting it out, and very, very fun to watch. Sequencer got to do demos of that. There's even a couple of talks by Zach Parrish and a couple of other tech artists about how to use Sequencer pretty early off that were done there.
I believe we have a talk. Shelly's saying we uploaded some talks. Yep. They should be live maybe later tonight.
Some of them are up live tomorrow. The ones from the keynote day.
Cool. So from keynote day,
there should be a sequencer one in that.
Yep. So definitely want to check those out. And over time, Shelly is of course still. We had done so many stream after stream. I know I could see you about to be like, oh, it was stream after stream. Shelly, amazing job over here. Just kept making it work, even through all the madness of it. So special thanks to you. But yeah, she's. We can get you like a little yay like image. There you go. Yes, perfect. So that was your happy explosion. So we'll have even more great content that we had shown once. We'll clean it up, put it on YouTube and all that, like we normally do. More great shots of the booth, etc. The McLaren. And then we also got to announce working with Star Wars, working with J.J. Abrams and Lucasfilms, and getting this new Star Wars demo out, and also working with Disney on this new section of their Disneyland park, right? So that's going to be nuts. Yeah. I'm sure we'll be announcing more of that as it comes to fruition. More Oculus work, mixed reality entertainment. Like, this is such a great blog post. I'm going to have to tell everyone, come out here, come to the blog, check out the GDC 2016 recap. It really is a lot to take in. And look, there's Nick again. All right, so we'll go on. Next up, there is a whole YouTube playlist. I'll get this posted up in Twitch chat in a second, and this will probably also be in the YouTube description and all that. But there is a full GDC list of all the videos that we showed there, just like Shelly's still uploading more of them, just like she was talking about. And you can see the State of Unreal is up there already, so you can see the full long talk with you talking about VR Editor, Ninja Theory talking about what they've been working on, and all the great announcements that happen. Highly recommend come down to our playlists and check them all out. All right, next up, the Facebook group also, now the Unreal at GDC group has a whole bunch of pictures of us at the VR Lounge. Don't laugh, Shelly. My stupid face. I don't know why they included that one, but whoever was running the camera was like, let's put up a silly image of Alex kind of making his meth face. But honestly, it was just so impressive that maybe I was overwhelmed and couldn't even think for this one. But the entire VRDC lounge was packed full. We got tons of great
oh gosh, I see a picture of, oh gosh, how amazing.
there's so many like of us like kind of making our awkward like halfway through a word faces, because like we're giving talks, or like someone's like saying something or showing something off.
I totally didn't see someone sneak on stage and take a picture of us sitting in the front row there.
Yes,
that's so funny.
It was a lot of fun. These are really great. But if you wanted to get a taste of like how much there was going on, definitely come take a look. You can even see you can see like people that were playing whatever the games were, having a great time. Really a great deal of fun. All right, and last bit of news. Paragon Early Access is now available, so you can, Paragon, it's here. Check it out. It's amazing and super fun game with lots of great gameplay. I find it very exciting. I'm a huge Steel player myself. I know we're probably not supposed to be like, I admit that this is my main, but Steel is mine. And it's a lot of fun. I think that, if you're looking into a good game with a brawler kind of feel to it, give it a shot. Come out here. I know a lot of people that are on the stream are game developers and don't always have time, but these sessions to play it are pretty short. It's pretty easy to get into, and then take a break.
Everyone at Epic seems to be loving it. That's one cool thing too. Like I was playing it up late last night. I love the game, but one cool thing is that you'll you'll run into Epic people on there quite a bit.
Yeah.
On the servers because we all love it and we're all playing it all the time.
Yeah, you'll see. I think most of us use our own names, and a lot of people just have like Epic in little like brackets before their name that.
It matches the forum name, whatever the forum name is.
Yeah.
I think it is the same name.
Yeah, so it'll be that. So you see a lot of those guys on there, and I think especially on like our mandatory playtest days, you'll start like it just flooded with Epic people kind of hanging out and wherever. But yeah, I know I've been talking to like Daniel Kaiser and like a bunch of other people. They're like, yeah, you've been playing it over the weekend. Like, gotta make time. You know, like everyone always has to make time. They want to play it all the time. It's very exciting. Check it out.
It's pretty much powered by 4.11 too. It's the version of Paragon that's live right now is very close to 4.11. It's more in line with 4.12, but
but a majority of those features, like we showed off, like the hair and the eye shaders and all the other coming from Paragon into UE4's 4.11 build streams from January, February.
Yep.
Those were really nice to get to talk about those. All right. Next up is Community Spotlight, and I got to make sure we do these first. So Answer Hub. On Answer Hub, we always talk about the top 3 Karma earners of the week. We have Black Phoenix. You're new. Good. With 655 weekly Karma, you skyrocketed to the top.
Wow.
Awesome job.
Cool.
Shadow River and Jackie are numbers 2 and 3. You guys are, recurring heroes on the Answer Hub. And if anyone's going to knock you guys down a peg, they're going to have to do what Black Phoenix did here and get a ton of Karma. So good work to everybody. Everyone who didn't get anything but kind of tried, try harder. It's competition. Get in there. I believe in you. All right. Shelly, main screen turn on. So, Community Spotlight.
It's a guitar. That makes no sense.
I love the transitions.
I couldn't do any of that stuff at GDC. So.
Yeah, like GDC was just like flat transitions driving her crazy because she has so many great ones. Like it's got like the hand grab. It's got the you got the one where on a laptop loaded up somewhere.
I'll get it.
Oh,
We'll
okay. She knows what I like. So at Kina, I might not be saying that totally correctly. I am American and have this American dialect that doesn't always help me when I try to pronounce words. So at Kina, the Cursed Nine. This is a game that's being made by Canizitas, but that's Philly the Owl in most other places, or Owl in a lot of different chats. But and kind of what I know her as is Owl, so I might keep saying that. But Owl's come out with a cool new game that she's been working on. There's a video that goes for it, a nice trailer, lots of cool screenshots. Shelly, did we pull a screenshot for this one? There we go. That's pretty. So lots of places to explore. One of those kind of large world kind of games. Follow the progress on the forums. I really love it when anyone out there who's making a game comes on our forums and says, I'm just started, here's some screenshots, I'm going to keep going, and as I go, I will keep you posted, because then, newer developers or developers that just want to learn new techniques get to see someone else go through the process, watch their stumbling blocks, like see where they're, encountering either boons, banes, etc. So this is great if you're, hey buddy, but hey,
Asian.
But yeah, if you want to come out, just see how it's done. There's a really great breakdown. Again, excellent work. Love to see these. And if you're working on a game and you intend to very publicly show the development of it, contact me. The whole reason I even knew that this existed is because I got reached out to on Twitter and PM on the forums. I check those and I actually kind of preload some of the spotlights. So very nice work. Speaking of people who reached out to me, Matthew Wadstein, has been working on an MVP series, is what he calls it, of FPS. And MVP is minimum viable product in this sense, not most valuable player, but minimum viable product, because he wants to show you how to create a very basic, straightforward prototype and understand start to finish what you're doing, why you're doing it. It's got a little touch here and there of UMG, a little touch here and there of like movement mechanics and all those. But if you're getting started, you want to see something start to finish. Maybe it's not like the full-fledged game, but it will get you started, it'll get you running. Matthew's got you covered. So check out the MVP
That's really
series.
Cool. That's really cool. That's awesome.
Yeah, I love anyone who comes in there and just like gets you kind of running out the door.
Yeah, we had talked about this a while back, like like we have the shooter game example project, for example, right? But it would really be nice to have like the breakdown, like the step by step, the
Like a
evolution of
making
how,
of?
the making of.
Yeah, that would be, yeah. And I guess this is kind of in that sense, sort of, going to that. It's sure shooter game isn't 100% something that we would put out as a final product, but it's a start, and that's kind of what he gets you to, is that start. Nice. So again, Matthew, thank you very much. Thank you for sending this to me. Really appreciate it when people help me out by telling me about the awesome stuff they're working on. So
yeah, and sharing all the code to it too. That's great.
Yeah.
It's on GitHub there.
Oh yeah, got the source files. Almost forgot documentation and source files. Super cool. Sharing is caring. So very nice. All right. So Demir H has been working on this really neat little plugin. It's actually been around for I think like a month now or so. Yeah. So, but I wanted to show it off and finally got a slot open so I can show this. The integrated dialogue editor. It is exactly what it sounds like, which is great. It's something you can go out and get if you want. Very nice plugin, and it's really just straight up. You can see there's text boxes.
So what is it? So it's like dialogue trees for like an
it's dialogue
RPG
trees.
or I see.
Yep,
Okay.
but through Blueprints, you can just input your text. You can even, as you can see in here, you can put in like hyperlink kind of like a hot link, so it knows like this is contextual word, like insert player name.
Yeah, interesting. Scroll up a little bit.
Yeah, you like that?
That's cool. Yeah.
Isn't that nice?
I don't think it is Blueprints.
But it's in the
a
style
Graph Network.
yes.
It's using the Unreal Graph Network stuff.
Yep.
But that's awesome, right? It looks just like the tree. Like you can see the tree expanded. Just like.
And you can see the different
awesome.
dialogue branch choices and how it's very simple, very easy flow.
That's a great idea.
It's not free, mind you, and normally everything I show up is free, but this is something that I thought was still worth bringing everyone's attention because of how. I can't tell you how many times people are like, okay, let's make a tutorial on how to do a dialogue system, and instead, this is very straightforward, very easy to understand. You can look at it and know what you're doing, kind of thing. And I love that when you just look at it and go, yeah, that's it. So, very good. Again, Demir, excellent work. This just says it all, honestly. So, very cool. All right, that's what I got for Community Spotlight. Laptop, nice. All right. So, we have a lot coming in 4.11. It's going to be one of our nicest ones as far as performance enhancements,
Definitely.
I hear.
Yep, performance was probably the big story of this release because, as you know, we're shipping Paragon. We knew no matter what, we're going to hit 60 frames per second on PS4. We want high performance on PC and scalable to lots of different levels of hardware. So performance was just like on everyone's mind. Pretty much we dropped everything. Everyone who wasn't needed on critical other features were working on performance. At least for a good window of time there during the 4.11's development. So I want to give a rundown of some of the features. I know that on past streams we've covered, we've had the rendering guys over and they talked about some of the features. So I'll kind of just go quickly through some of the ones that maybe we've covered on, and if we hit something that maybe I think that we haven't talked about too much, then we can expand upon that. And then after that I'll talk about kind of what we're doing now and kind of 4.12 and future stuff. But before I start, again, want to thank the community for submitting, I think, almost 100 pull requests for
the pull requests
4.11. I think we're at 92 right now for 4.11 that were committed.
Yeah.
And I know we have an ever-expanding backlog that we're trying to get through. We're working on a process to get through this faster. But thank you, 92 contributions, bug fixes, features. Thanks so much. And I noticed on GitHub, too, we're almost up to 15,000 forks of Unreal. I think there's just 1450 or something right now.
There's a ton of people just making their own branches, own versions, and all that.
Yeah, so that's awesome. That's one of the things I'd love to get feedback from people who are pretty GitHub savvy. I'd love to. So we have almost 15,000 forks. It'd be awesome to find a way where to surface interesting stuff going on there a little more easily, because it's kind of hard to kind of peruse those. The network's so big now, you can't even use GitHub's network browsing feature. So that's something that's kind of we've been talking about with the team more, and we'd love any feedback you guys have on that. Okay, so 4.11 stuff. I'm just going to kind of quickly go through the cool kind of big beats of 4.11. So performance was the main one. We did optimizations just all over the place. Load times, animation system had a whole ton of optimizations. We multi-thread animation now, you can selectively multi-thread anim graph nodes.
That's awesome.
Which we rely on Paragon a lot. We threaded, the cloth solver got threaded for clothing, some more animation stuff. We have baked additive animations, or animations no longer have to be applied dynamically on the fly. You can just kind of bake them out, use it's trade off for memory, and some cook time there to do that baking, but much faster performance when you're actually animating skeletal meshes in game. What else? We did garbage collection clustering, which basically means faster garbage collect times just for everyone, which is really cool. So that sometimes when you garbage collect, you'll take a small hitch depending on how many objects you have in memory. So that hitch is significantly less now for any Unreal project, because what we've done is taken objects that usually have other objects that go with them, like a material might have a bunch of textures to go with it, or we might have a sound cue that has a sound with it. And they're just these things just always go together. So now the GC system can kind of identify, I think only certain types. I think maybe we whitelist certain types of assets, but the ones that are very common, we probably particles. We kind of treat them as an atomic unit in the garbage collector, so we don't have to go and mark and sweep all those extra kind of sub objects. So anyways, this is a cool optimization that the guys did. Yeah, and overall the engine is just threaded really well now. I think we had something the picture I was looking at while we were working on the release notes looked like 90 plus 95% maybe core utilization on PS4, which is really, really cool. So really proud of the team. They did a great job on that.
Oh yeah.
Cool. So other stuff in 4.11. We have Intel Embry support in Lightmass now. So lighting builds are just faster. I think they're 2 to 3 times faster in our test levels. So that's really awesome. And that's just basically switching the ray tracing backend from our kind of Lightmass's default backend to using Intel Embry, which is kind of a free, super fast ray casting library. So that's in 4.11. We have portals in Lightmass. This is a cool feature that basically lets you place kind of almost like rectangles on areas of your scene where you have incoming light. And what this does is tells Lightmass kind of to focus your kind of raycasts on these areas. And what it results in is just higher quality lighting and shadows overall, because Lightmass is able to, you're basically hinting it, telling it, hey, I got a skylight up here. You probably want to pay attention to all the bounce stuff coming from that thing, rather than spreading our rays out evenly over the whole scene where there's no lights coming from. So that's another cool feature. On the renderer, I'll just go through these quickly because I think we've talked about most of them. We have new hair shader, eye shader, a skin shader looks awesome.
Oh yeah.
We've done shaders for clothing, so the characters in Paragon have these kind of nice velvety kind of clothes, and we have new shaders for that too. We added capsule shadows, which I don't know if we've talked about on a stream yet.
We went over it very briefly. I think maybe we showed an image, but
we did. Okay.
I would really like to go over more if you can talk about how much more performance you're going to get out of that, because it is very impressive to see that by comparison to full dynamic shadow versus this, you get massive amounts of performance.
Yeah. It's so simple compared to re-rendering the whole object basically to do a nice self-shadowed cascaded shadow. These capsule shadows, so basically set them up, it's really simple. You'll go and make physics assets like you normally would out of these kind of capsule shapes. You can use spheres too, but capsules kind of work better. And then you kind of assign that thing as your shadow physics asset on your skeletal mesh. And then you turn on capsule shadows on your component, and ta-da, you cast capsule shadows. And you can set whether they're direct or indirect, which I think is a really cool feature. So you can just use these as normal shadows. In some games, these are going to look probably better than, especially if it's a stylized game, or if it's a game that has no real direct light and it's very AO heavy. The capsule shadows just look awesome. They're always really soft, and very fast to render. But the other really cool thing is that they work with indirect lighting. So even in areas where there's just no direct light, it'll just ground your characters. It'll kind of have this nice soft shadow under them. And then when they, just get exposed to sunlight, they'll have the normal kind of cascaded shadow as well.
Awesome.
Yeah, so that's another cool feature that's just really useful. Get you better performance. Other stuff we added, LOD crossfading. So we've had crossfading before for, I think we had it for the massive LOD stuff, so the hierarchical LOD. We could crossfade between meshes, and now we have that for just any static mesh. So on your static mesh material, it costs a little bit, so you maybe don't want to turn it on for everything, but if it's important for you to have really nice transitions between your levels of detail, you can just check a box on your material, and the engine will crossfade between levels of detail with the kind of like a dithered transition.
Oh yeah.
Looks really good.
Yeah, and people are asking what about images and stuff for these? Well, once you get out the release notes,
Yeah.
we'll give you full images. You guys will have full like visual reference for all of this. But yeah, we have to keep those under wraps until it's totally out the door. So
Yeah, we're working on release notes right now. We can't. I'd love to just scroll through them, but they're not all approved yet. They're
Yep.
still so. But as soon as we can, we'll get that out there.
yeah, and that should be out the door very soon, like I said. But yeah, the dithering effect is very impressive when you see, just like you're very blocky, low poly, and then as you kind of fade in, and it gives you the much nicer one. And it doesn't do that immediate pop.
Yep.
Instead, it kind of hazes into existence.
Yeah, it's nice. What else we got? We have particle cutouts. I don't know if we talked about this, but nice performance saving thing, right? Where if you're doing flipbook particles, which are basically like movie textures, where you have like 32 frames on a single texture and you're kind of like flipping through them quickly to do a little animation. Now the engine can generate kind of tightly wrapped geometry around every particle frame, so that when you re-render these, you're not having to render a bunch of like overdrawn pixels for the translucent parts of the particle. Instead, every little particle, if you have like a small little coverage of any given sprite,
Kind of like chunks it up and cuts out all
Yeah.
the extra noise of it.
yeah. So just get basically free particle performance. It made a big difference for us, especially if you have particles that end up like kind of these big sheets that end up kind of covering the screen like an explosion effect or something.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yep. We added just like a bunch of minor things. We have like dithered opacity mask effects. These will come off better when you have pictures in the release notes and documentation. But particle depth of field got better. We increased the quality of circle depth of field. So just all your depth of field, you basically have like more knobs now. You can turn up the quality higher than you could before.
Yeah.
So let's see what else we did. We did some VR stuff. So we have instant stereo rendering, which probably we've talked about. We must have talked about that by now.
I feel somewhere along the lines, but I don't think we've talked about it on one of our streams yet. Instant stereo rendering, because that's going to be that's going to save you so much performance in VR. Like it's ridiculous.
You basically always want to have it on if you're making a VR project. So it'll basically issue the draw call for your geometry for one eye, and the rendering system will take care of kind of making sure that's presented from both perspectives so that you can render the other eye on the cheap. So a very low CPU overhead now for rendering stereo on the render thread. Obviously, you're still drawing the geometry twice, so the GPU hit is similar, but it's still reduced for this. I don't have numbers here of what it saves us, but you definitely want to turn that on. There are a few limitations, like it's a new feature. It works generally for all the features that you'd want turned on VR. It works fine for, but if you're using some of the more high-end features like global distance fields or DFAO, I don't think that those are supported with it yet. I'm sure we'll support them later.
Yeah.
But we prioritize things that you probably can afford to have turned on in a 90 hertz VR game. So those features generally all work.
That's great.
Yeah, so super awesome feature, and it's just really in your project settings. You go to rendering and turn on instant stereo, restart the project. It'll have to compile new shaders for you, and then you get those performance savings. Super easy.
But it's literally a checkbox.
It's a checkbox. Yeah,
savings.
it's just like I would like
Love
better
it.
performance in my game.
That just makes life easier, isn't it? Cool.
Let's see. So animation stuff. We have gameplay recording now. We're gonna be showing more of this on the sequencer side too.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm laughing at her because she's doing like transitions all over the place. She's just having fun because she finally got her TriCaster back. It's like getting her toy back.
Nice. I think that's good though, because I don't have a whole lot of pretty pictures to show, and I'm just kind of like just talking about all this cool stuff. But
Go for it. This is great information to have, honestly. So yeah, keep it up.
yeah. So gameplay recording lets you basically
Yeah.
play the game and capture an animation sequence asset from it.
Yeah, and I think Zach Parrish actually did a talk on that at GDC where he was running around in Paragon, ran around as Steel, recorded it, and then like made himself do something goofy, and then like made another Steel run around that one, and because the recording just allows you to inject more of them. And
So what he was showing at GDC was actually, that's kind of the next stage, right?
oh, okay, cool.
So animation recording creates an asset from you just kind of running around as a player. But the next kind of thing we're doing with Sequencer is we're merging animation recording with movie sequences in Sequencer. And what Zach was showing on stage was basically like overdubbing, where you can record gameplay happening and then kind of like treat that as one take and then record additional takes of gameplay and kind of overdub them on the same timeline and kind of scrub through them. And then you can play the game with your kind of mirror copies there and even collide against them and kind of try out kind of different animation setups with that. So anyways, it's a cool feature. I think it's going to be really, really useful when Sequencer's ready, which I'll talk about a little bit later. Other stuff we got, Anim Dynamics. This is another one. It's like you just need videos to see this one. The transition.
Oh, the Anim Dynamics.
Yeah. Anim Dynamics is basically like.
Oh, we got to do a whole stream on those. So
Oh, you
if you
did?
guys go into our archives, you'll see one on Anim Dynamics, and we actually talk about we had we had Feng Mao out there like with his chains
Yeah.
and stuff swinging around, and I think that's actually one of the images we're going to have in the release notes.
Yeah.
Yep. So that'll be a lot of fun.
So, just for completeness, I'll just cover it with
Oh,
like
yeah,
a simple,
totally,
simple
absolutely.
sentence. But basically, it's just all the dangly stuff, all the simulaty kind of bits that you want hanging off a character, like simple clothing or chains in Feng's case, or ponytails.
Yeah, little like ornaments and stuff that just kind of are attached, medals that might be on them, etc.
So it lets you have those it lets you set those things up and simulate them on the cheap. Like that's the whole idea. This is there's very simplified collision models for this. Like usually just colliding against spheres or boxes. It's very very cheap, and that's what it's for. It's just like auxiliary like animation stuff. Anyways, next one we have a bone reduction tool. This is cool. Just lets you make animation LEDs in the editor. You can basically just say like, hey, I got this hand with all my like finger bones and everything, but for my LEDs, I don't really need to be simulating my fingers. I can kind of get by with just like a mitten. So you can kind of just in the editor, you can just basically say like, hey, in the LED, I want to disable all the sub bones, and it will go and automatically reweight those to the whatever leaf bone was before that. So your LEDs can just be cheaper, kind of super easy.
So it's animation LEDs basically.
Yep.
That's really cool.
Hierarchical LED, we've been improving this every release since I think 4.8 when we introduced it. Maybe it was 4.7. No, it was 4.8. But it's gotten a ton of improvements because we're using it in Paragon. For the whole Agora map relies on hierarchical LED to get basically like if you get up close to things in Agora, they're really beautiful. They're really high res geometry and textures. But we have to draw this huge environment and sustain that visual quality. So we use HLOD for that. We've added a new feature called the HLOD Outliner, which lets you kind of manage and see what's going on with all the LEDs in your scene and kind of inspect them and tweak them, edit their settings, so you can kind of personalize and cluster to get your scene looking the way that you want. Our artists kind of relied on that to make sure that they could massage the results of the automatic HLOD into kind of like this nice, perfectly tweaked scene and deal with any kind of artifacts.
Oh, that's cool.
Yep. This is a super highly requested feature that we finally have in 4.11, which is lighting channels.
Oh yes.
We had it in Unreal Engine
Lighting
3.
channels.
Yep. We had it in UE3, and now we finally have it in UE4, which is pretty much critical for doing any kind of cinematic stuff.
I mean, that's really great. I'm glad that we got those in there now. Yeah, I've definitely seen a lot of requests for lighting channels over time. So.
Yep, and they don't cost much performance. It just costs a smidge if you turn them on. Basically, just on your mesh component, you'll set the lighting channel that you want to be lit by, and on your light source, you'll set the channel that it's emitting on, and those are forever on the same frequency.
Yep.
So you can kind of add nice like rim lighting to a character without kind of affecting the rest of the world. There's all these kind of like cheating physics types of tricks that cinematographers are relying on.
Awesome. That's great.
Let's see, I'm just going to skip some of this. This is platform stuff. Obviously, like new build, we update all the latest SDKs. DirectX 12 got a nice upgrade. Microsoft contributed a bunch of code to bring DX12, make that even better. Remember to use DX12, you can just run, I don't think it's a project setting, I think you just have to run with -DX12 right now to test it, but it's coming along really well. Metal is supported on Mac by default now, so if you're making a Mac game, Metal is now the default RHI. The GL1's still in there, and that's still supported too, but Metal's ready to go on Mac and get better performance, so it's just a cool automatic upgrade. And then audio had a huge update in 4.11. So for audio, we have like a whole ton of new features like stereo spatialization, which is like if you have a stereo sound, you can put it somewhere in 3D and set the offset of the kind of the two speakers of the two sounds, so you can actually hear something playing as if it were emitted in stereo in 3D, spatialized that way. So I thought that was a cool feature. And we have occlusion now, so you can set a sound to basically be like, hey, I need to be occluded, or don't hear me as much if I'm occluded behind a wall. And it will just do some simple rate checks every so often.
Yeah, we got to do the one VR audio stream a little while ago and talk about some of that new stuff that's coming and the kind of stereo audio stuff that's coming along too. So that's really cool.
Some of the stuff is critical for VR.
Oh, absolutely.
And there's a audio focus system which basically lets you have the sound piece of audio sound differently depending on the listener's angle relative to it.
Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure why you need that, but
Well,
it
immediately,
seems like a cool feature.
I think that would be really great if you wanted to. See, cinematics aren't something you can really do in VR, right? But instead, you can direct the player's attention by maybe muting out things as they're looking at them that you're not important, and when you want to have a cinematic moment, you emphasize audio in this direction or something. But yeah, there's definitely use cases, I think.
So that's most of we have for 4.11. The release notes have a whole ton. I think there's like 40 pages, almost of just major features.
That was the major features. I'm actually looking at the minor features right now, and it's at least 70 pages of minor features, which I'm still cleaning.
All right, I know what I'm doing this weekend is reviewing the minor feature
We are
list.
coming in on the weekend. That is right.
A lot of stuff in this release. It's huge.
It's huge.
But the last thing I'll mention is that Sequencer, I want to give an update on this, and we showed it at GDC, and I think we'll have a YouTube video up later today with a talk from probably Michael Gay and those guys demoing some features of it. So as it is now, we're using it for everything. It's pretty good. It's pretty much on feature parity with Matinee, plus it has a whole bunch of other cool, awesome features.
The scene-based editing stuff is so
cool.
Sorry.
But it's still early. It hasn't been through all the QA. It's not fully battle tested. So in 4.11, it has a bunch of new features. It's still marked experimental in 4.11. Please try it out and give us feedback.
Yep.
But 4.12 is kind of where it's at. So if you're brave enough to use Master Branch, or and again, if you use it, don't go and like switch your game over to Master Branch or anything like that. Yeah. But if you download Master Branch and turn on the level sequence editor plugin, you pretty much have the version that we brought to GDC, which is pretty awesome. Like, and that's, we showed the Paragon trailer in it, running real time. We did the Ninja Theory demo of that running in it real time. It was awesome.
And it was great because in the pods themselves, we were actually showing it off live. The Hellblade demo with Sequencer in the pods, people were walking up and actually getting to see it.
Yep.
And they also got to see Vulkan live.
Oh, that's right. Yep. On the Samsung.
Yep. Yeah, that was really great.
So in 4.12, I think we're hoping we could turn it on by default, and that will just be kind of, but we're still kind of buttoning it up and seeing where it's at, but it's getting there. It's going to be awesome.
It's excellent.
Cool. That was my 4.11 stuff.
Sweet. I think we got just a bit of Q&A.
We can do Q&A. I have a few like kind of future-y kind of things
let's talk about. Let's talk about the future.
The future.
Into that.
Just things that like we're either working on now. So what might appear in 4.12 or 4.13, or just some of it's kind of like stuff we might work on later this year. We want to work on. We're planning some of the stuff now. So some of the stuff like the Vulkan, I know there's a question about Vulkan that came through on the forums.
Yeah, actually, I mean, since you're already talking about what is the expected release date of Vulkan support in UE4, can we expect it to be, can we expect support for the editor on all platforms, not just Samsung, all that? So
we have it implemented, so it's in Master Branch, it's not in 4.11, but it was very recently, I think right before GDC committed to Master Branch in some form. It's not completely done yet, it's very beta. But if you grab the version from GitHub, you can use Vulkan now. So I guess there's a release date. It's out now if you're brave enough to use Master Branch. Otherwise, it will be in 4.12 in some form. I'm not sure how experimental it will be, but it should be working, at least to the extent that we used it with Protostar. So anyways, Vulkan's coming. Other stuff going on, so we're working on getting a lot more code plugins into the marketplace, and this is kind of something I feel like I was on here for the 4.10 release, and I was saying that we're going to have it ready sooner, but stuff happened, and we're still working on it. But we were working with dozens of partners who have these cool and interesting plugins for UE4. Some may already be available via their own means, but we want to make it easier for you guys to get those plugins, so we're going to put them on our marketplace. Some of them are just free ones, and some are paid. There's just a whole variety of different types of plugins, as you might expect. So we're working on getting those on there.
Awesome.
I think we're hoping within the next month.
Yeah, that was one of the questions on here.
Yep.
So I'm gonna.
And we also want to make it easier for you guys to be able to create plugins. Like we added the plugin wizard, I think in 4.9, and we've been improving that a bit. But just more documentation and more learning resources about how to extend the editor, extend the rendering system, and other features. So that's definitely, just so you guys know, that's on our mind. And I think once we get plugins in the marketplace, there's going to be more interest in kind of creating kind of nice, useful things for the community as well. Not just like these mega plugins. We'll see like smaller things that just add nice, useful features and quality of life improvements. So that's coming. Other stuff that's kind of going on, where you guys know we're doing Blueprint to C++ conversion, which you can actually try it out in the 4.11 release. I believe even the 4.10 release had a version of this. But 4.11 it's much improved.
Cool.
There's like I think it's called like nativized blueprint code or something in the project settings, and it will, when you package your project, it will go and emit a bunch of source files and compile them and try to get your blueprint code running natively. Which am I on fire?
I think you're a little on fire. I was looking at it like, is this guy on fire? Okay.
Yeah, so you can try that out. We've got it working with sample games, and we're trying to get it working with the bigger games now. It's not fully done yet. And it generates kind of massive amounts of code for big projects, and we're working on kind of like shrinking that footprint so it doesn't take forever to compile, but
cool.
So that's happening. Replay system's getting a big upgrade, so this is kind of stuff for 4.12 where the quality is just going to get better automatically if we're using the replay system. We're working on backwards compatibility, so your existing replay data can survive maybe through versions of your game a little more better than they do right now.
Awesome.
We have this cool there's a bunch of performance tools that we've worked on to ship Paragon that either are getting an upgrade or there's new tools like.
It's nice. It's cool. Keeps the air cool in here.
That's really cool. It actually looked realistic. So we have Pixel Picker, which is this kind of cool you can select a pixel on the frame buffer and what's going on with this gbuffer and kind of pare the whole thing down and look into what made that pixel.
That's actually really cool. So pixel perfect testing.
Yeah, it's just see
awesome.
render what did you do to make this pixel, and kind of everything happened in the gbuffer. It's a cool thing. And then the Blueprint profiler. I don't know if we talked about that much, but profiling improvements for Blueprint, so you can kind of get a precise timing of node performance. Like a live kind of heat map. I think they're working on. It's just stuff that we think will be really useful to anyone working on Blueprint games or games with lots of blueprints.
Yeah.
And then more long-term-ish things that we're working. We've mentioned before working on a new particle system that kind of went on pause for a little bit while we're working on Paragon, but we'll bring back the code name for it is Niagara. We'll get to be working on that again, I'm sure, sometime in the near future. There's content hot reload is a big thing. We want to make it easier for you to kind of get new versions of assets into the editor without having to totally restart the editor. That's just a huge workflow thing. So this is on our mind and something we're talking about. We're trying to simplify how redirectors work. We'd like to maybe think of a better system than redirectors long term, but we're still pondering it. So just things like that. We're going to standardize kind of how windowing works. So what this means is I want to make it easier for your game to kind of have nice window behavior on the desktop. So grab the window, just resize the window, basically make it behave more like a modern kind of desktop application, like a web browser or something that has that you can dynamically resize. It has easily accessible close buttons, and some of the stuff may sound game specific, but we're going to try and put as much of it into the engine, so you have the option of using these features in your game or not. But you'll see all of Epic's games kind of convert to be a little more standardized and modern with window behavior. New audio systems in development. We're doing a new texture streaming system. All kinds of stuff to say about that in the future. Yeah. Another thing that's on our mind is trying to make assets a little more easy to merge. Right now, kind of collaborations can be difficult on level files. Collaboration can be difficult on blueprints. We have a blueprint merge tool, but if we can make that better, we want to. So it's the big discussions we're kind of we're having over the next weeks and months. But yeah, so just kind of knowing what's important to you guys. We read the forum stuff, and we have a good idea generally. And every release has a ton of quality of life improvements and bug fixes that are requested from the community. So we hope that we're continuing to make the right changes and trade-offs when adding fixes and features for releases. But that's kind of the end of my spiel. I'm gonna stop there. I could keep talking about new stuff forever. There's so much stuff we want to do, and
well, they're having a great time hearing about it, so I don't see any reason. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, if you want to get into some of these questions that are popping up, I've been trying to grab them. I'm not trying to ignore you. I swear, these guys have got a lot of questions. It's really good questions, guys.
Okay, it's good. I can't always answer them, but I'll try.
Let's see here. So up top over here, let's see. Is this release going to have all the awesomeness of new sequencer tools showcased at GDC streams, which we did cover a little bit? That most of it is there, but 4.12 will have some more.
4.12 has a lot more. A lot more. So definitely, if you really want to see the version of sequencer that we showed you're gonna have to grab the code from GitHub.
Yeah, get to main.
And the master code on GitHub, it's pretty much the sequencer that you saw. I'm pretty sure, maybe some changes haven't been integrated from the sequencer branch, but I'm pretty sure it's pretty much one-to-one.
Alrighty.
Let's see what's going on. Built-in camera support for HMDs. You know, we'd have to ask the VR team. I'm absolutely sure we'll support them. Like, if there's if there's SDK access to the frame buffer on the front of the Vive, which I'm sure there's probably is. We'll support it. Obviously, I don't know when that's going to come. Those guys would know that, but they're really quick at adopting all the features in the HMDs. So
that should be a lot of fun to see where that's all going over the next year. I think
Totally.
It's going to be rapidly developing like new new integrations of their tech. All right.
Multi-threading via blueprints. This is an interesting one. I don't think that we've done anything with that yet, but like it's kind of come up, right? Like we mentioned threading animation graph stuff and feature in 4.11.
I think that's what brought it up, actually. You mentioned that, and then that question comes up.
Yeah. So we certainly, here's the thing, right? Like we don't do much threading of even C++ gameplay code. So threading the blueprint gameplay code has kind of its own extra layer of challenges, but it's something we talk about all the time. Like in a planning meeting recently, we were talking about like, okay, we need to make it easier for people to thread their gameplay code, including their blueprint code, to take advantage of all these cores, right? So it's on our mind. We don't really know exactly the approach that we'll take or how we'll get there, but I guess just know that we're discussing it.
Awesome.
What's next?
Pull requests for Linux.
Oh yeah.
I'm pretty sure we're still taking pull requests for Linux. Yeah, just asking if we're taking pull requests. Yeah, we're taking a lot of pull requests.
We might.
Like he said, there's a small backlog, and we're working on making sure that backlog gets all addressed.
Oh, the backlog actually is embarrassingly big right now. So and I totally apologize. It's my fault and our fault for not having a better process right now. But
working on it,
yeah,
though.
We'll get there.
That's the important thing is we've identified and are working on.
But Dimitri and those guys who mainly look after Linux. They would love, they love your pull requests, so I'm sure.
Oh yeah, it really helps out a lot. And like you were saying, we have almost 100 people that are going to get a credit. And remember, when you do a pull request and it gets integrated, you get a credit in Unreal Engine.
A lot of people don't know that, but if you go to help about, like your name's in there.
Yeah, if you actually go to like the about, there's a little credits button, and then there's this massive section. It's like all these pull request people's like big thank you section. So please, thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Any news on the large world coordinate system that's currently on the
That one's near and dear to my heart. I would love to work on that. We haven't done anything with it yet. I would really love to do it. Obviously, we still have we support huge levels via sort of offsetting the origin as you move between different sublevels. That's like the world browser.
Yeah.
So we can do huge levels, but large coordinates are important for a number of different types of huge games, like universe-sized games or games where you need multiplayer on a huge open scale, which is totally cool and awesome. So we'd love to support it. I think I care about it maybe more than most even, but we haven't started it yet. It might be something we look at in the next year or two. I'm not sure if there's any immediate plan to start it though.
Okay. So we were talking about the stereo instancing on VR, and then this question about do the 4.11 improvements for VR carry over to Gear VR, and I would assume so, right?
I actually don't know the answer to that. Yeah, I'm not sure actually.
That one might be better off on the VR forums where we can direct maybe Nick Whiting to talk more on that one then.
Yeah. So I'm not sure like what shader model feature levels required to make use of the instinct. That's why I hesitate to just assume that it works. So yeah, definitely those guys are better off to answer.
All right, yeah. So VR forums and that's where they definitely go in, take a look, and answer questions. So, alrighty. Will the parallax occlusion mapping example be included in the 4.11 release?
I didn't know we had an example. Did Ryan make one? Or something?
Yeah, there was. He's made one,
awesome.
And he says on that stream what build it's in. So I can't remember off the top of my head, but I did want to address this one and say if you go back to the Ryan Brooks parallax occlusion mapping stream, he actually does say like where he intends for that to be included and where it'll be going. So off the top of my head, sorry, don't remember, but if you go on our YouTube channel, the parallax occlusion mapping video will have him talking about it and when it comes out. So thanks.
The materials are awesome though.
Oh gosh, yeah.
It's like amazing.
Yeah, just like doing that whole stream was just like a whoa, And then he would like crank up something another notch just to show us what it looks like. Oh, so good. Ryan is amazing at what he does.
It's crazy.
Some
of the stuff he did for the Protostar was...
Oh, the
the
morph stuff in
crazy,
the beginning.
yeah.
It's like that's happening in real time on a phone. Like the morph targeting. What? Okay. Yeah, nuts. Really great. So Niagara, sup with that, yo?
I think I covered that a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
And that like
Love the format of that question.
yeah. Sup with that? Yeah, it's not being worked on right now. It
kind of feels like it was do sequencer and then lockdown sequencer and then move on to.
Oh, honestly, what happened
major
is just
feature?
like I said, the focus was performance to get Paragon at 60 hertz on PS4 and to make the engine super ready for console, super ready for shipping on desktop. And the developers who are most focused on, you can imagine, right? The guys writing this super highly optimized particle simulation system. They're pretty valuable for optimizing the engine, so we bored them for that. And that's all there is to it. As soon as they're able to get back to working on Niagara, they will. I'm sure.
Awesome. That's excellent.
Yep.
Let's see here. I don't know if you're going to know anything about BPs and Google Play. I feel like that one's okay.
Nope.
Can sequencer save directly in video format as a single video file?
I think it can. Yeah, it can make AVIs. Pretty sure it can dump frames. Like frames are useful too. So it can save EXRs, PNGs. Pretty sure it can save an AVI. But I might be wrong. I haven't tried it myself. I did work on myself on some of the frame buffer dumping stuff for sequencer for the Paragon trailer, but we weren't using AVIs because they needed all the raw frames to pull them into like Nuke or whatever they use for compositing.
Okay, cool. Our editor visual changes something that's allowed via GitHub. Yeah, I mean, if he's talking about just if this is just a question of if you make changes that improve the UX of the engine, then
yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, it doesn't have to all be like feature improvements. If you guys are just notice that we have like a flow that's off, like feels a little backwards, or
we would love that actually.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, we struggle to have enough time to be able to focus on kind of.
Yeah, we have all those UX testers, the UX team, and all that, but it doesn't mean that we always have someone who's there to make the UX changes necessary. So
we want to, though. It's something we're also trying to work on, is having that be a bit more of a focus with the new features. But yeah, that would be awesome. Like even if you see like the wrong amount of padding between a text field and a button or something, or the inconsistent coloring of things like that. If you guys are able to help with it, we'd gladly take those changes.
Absolutely, and like we were saying about getting a credit in the engine, that's a good kind of quick way to get yourself a credit is to have an easy to approve thing. Because what happens a lot of times is we get like these really cool massive systems, and we're like, well, we're gonna have to test through all of that before we can actually approve it. And so you're gonna have to wait a couple of builds till we have someone to test it, et cetera, and then you have like a thing. But I tell you what, fixing comments and fixing like these little things, I can tell you right now, Mieszko. I know that John Alcatraz has a credit because he went in and found Mieszko's poorly written like comments, and he just fixed them, like fixed some English in them, fixed some grammar problems.
Oh, poor Mieszko.
And now he has throwing
him under the bus.
Well, I tell you what, the native English speakers aren't always better. So you guys go through our comments, go through all that, catch us where we're stumbling in grammar and other little funny places, and you can actually get yourself a credit pretty quick.
I mean, I'll even explicitly call out like a lot of our public API headers, especially kind of legacy ones that were almost carryover from UE3.
Yeah.
Like we've certainly put a good amount of effort into cleaning those up and polishing them, but like we would love the help of kind of making, because the better the comments are in the public headers, the better our automatically generated documentation is.
Absolutely.
So it all just goes straight to it, and that's so precious to us.
Yep. So anytime that you're sitting here like, oh, I know a better way of doing this, and documentation doesn't even cover, well, probably it's because that comment in it could use a little help. And if you update that comment, do a pull, suddenly you've helped out the docs team, you've helped out so many people that are questioning it, and yeah, get a credit out of it. It's really nice.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. I don't think that one's going to go anywhere here. I'll scroll down for you so you can see a little better. I think that one's just not happening.
So one of the questions is, any plans for C# support? I mean, we still talk about this stuff all the time, actually. We had a meeting. I was chatting about it with Tim and Penwarden and Dan Vogel, like not even like right before GDC really, about like, hey, are we ever going to do like typing scripting in UE4, not just blueprints and C++? And it's, I mean, we're still open to it, like of course we are. And
but not for 4.11 though.
Not for 4.11.
Because that was not for 4.11 specifically, but yeah, it's always something that's
it's something
mind.
we keep discussing. We're not actively working on it. But of course, we do work with any number of these people making awesome language plugins for UE4, like Unreal.js, the Hex plugin, Skookum script, which is awesome. Like we want to help those guys as much as we can. So, and we'll make sure the engine's really, really well set up for sort of bolting on these awesome languages and development environments. Like that's totally cool. We're just on the fence about like, hey, do we have the bandwidth to even support like another development environment? Can we make all the samples and tutorials that you would need? Are we going to use it ourselves internally? Are we going to make our next game with that scripting thing? Because if we're not using it, it's not going to be as good as.
Yeah, there's a lot of that internal driven kind of requirement too.
Yeah, this is. I mean, this is just how our conversations go about it. But we generally love the idea. It's just. Like, how do we pull it off? What's the right way to do it? I'm not sure.
All that. And a shout out to Skookum Script, by the way. They're in chat, being awesome, talking about stuff. So good to see you guys around. Cool. Yeah. Thanks for the shout out, Mike, they say. Nice.
You're welcome, Conan.
Cool. Destruction in UE4 is going to be worked... wait, this is really oddly worded. Destruction in UE4 is going to worked onto a more epic scale.
That's a big one on the list too. Yeah, that's something we really care about. Is kind of like what the future of destruction features are in UE4. I don't think the plans have solidified, but we know we really care about it. We want to do something. Maybe it's something we'll take on this year. We're not sure.
Okay. Good. Let's see here. So this one I'm going to address. Any chance the original FBX pivot import will be included in 4.11? I don't believe in 4.11 it will, but there's a plugin. If you go on the forums and look up like import and pivot, there is a plugin that was written. It's really fantastic. It lets you completely reassign your pivot point in the engine, and it really kind of solves all that. So
cool. I didn't even know about that.
Yeah,
awesome.
I found it the other day, and it's just really, it's useful. It's one of those little things you don't think is going to be a big deal, but it ends up being a big help when you're snapping things into place and need that kind of precision of where it is. So yeah, there's a good plugin for it, not 4.11 though. Cool. All right. Is Apex still the best way to do cloth, and especially long hair?
I think so. I mean, we've been in 4.11. We made a bunch of optimizations to cloth. Like I think we switched to our highly customized solver for cloth too to make it faster. And depending on the hair, maybe you could just use the Anim Dynamics stuff. Like I mean, Feng Mao's using Anim Dynamics for his ponytail. It's not like a full-on cloth sim, but yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'm not the authority on this one, but I'm pretty sure it's the way to go.
All right. I do know that they were talking about with the Anim Dynamics system, like if it's something tiny, you might as well do it through Anim Dynamics. Yeah. But for your actual cloth, for anything like larger, you're still going to want to use Apex cloth for the best look for all that. So.
Should be a lot faster though in the new engine.
Oh so, yeah. I mean, 4.11 is going to have a lot of optimizations in general. Let's see here. So we're still getting a lot of questions in kind of hot.
I can't see a chat stream from where I'm at, so I'm kind of just waiting for...
There we go. Okay, so any plans for a tool that will allow smoother C++ project cloning?
Oh, project cloning. I guess like you were talking about making a copy of a project and renaming the project. Mm-hmm. That's probably the only thing that would be hard about that, right? It's because you're going to have to go and update a bunch of module files, project name, source file names that have the project in it, that kind of stuff. I don't know if that's what they're asking about, but no, there's no plans.
Okay. Yeah. And some of these questions, we have questions here about converting blueprints to C++ automatically, and like you were saying, that's something that we are working on.
Yeah, you can try it out in the latest build, just turn it on your project and see if it works for your project. Yep. I know some people on the forums were excited to have some success, and their projects just worked already, even though we're still under heavy development on it. But I think we're seeing like pretty substantial performance gains depending on what you're doing with your blueprints. Mm-hmm. So it should be good.
Cool. This one's kind of specific. Do we know anything about replication with root motion animations coming along or not?
I don't know. I feel like I have heard something about that recently, but I forget.
I don't think that 4.11 specifically is going to have anything new with that, though. I might be wrong.
I don't think so.
But if I'm wrong and that's actually a thing, then we'll probably have a stream about just that like all the new animation stuff coming. Because it sounds like there's a lot of new animation stuff in the works. Any news on Paper 2D?
That's another one that's kind of been on a little bit of pause for a while. It's like we obviously fixed bugs in it.
Yep. I think there was kind of a small hiatus on that development because Michael's been working really, really hard on this performance stuff. Yep. And if you saw him on the other stream, yeah, he he talked to it a lot, all the new features that he's been working on. But that's kind of his baby.
It's just another case where, like, Mr. Noland, right man for the job to get performance super awesome in Paragon, and we bored him over for that. And he would love to work on PagerDuty some more, I'm sure. We'll get him some help on it too. It needs more. Needs more than just one person.
Oh yeah, I think that we'll start seeing a little more love go that way sometime soon. Any plans on BP to CPP, clean definition structs, class declarations converter without the implementation? It's a little bit technical for me.
Declarations converter without the implementation. I don't think I fully understood. Let me see, what's the full?
It's any plans on BP to CPP, clean definitions here. I'll throw it up in here so it's a little easier for you to read. I can also answer another question just popped up in the chat. How to get an HTC Vive. How to get a Vive. So you probably were watching the keynote and heard Tim mention that we have like a ton of Vives to give out. Thank you to Valve, who's super awesome about this. And the way that you do that is actually through the Dev Grants program. You just apply for a Dev Grant, basically, and that's actually the same program that we kind of evaluate, and you say, hey, I would like a Vive for my VR development, and then...
You're saying you get a Vive and money?
Well, it could be, actually, that you get both.
That's awesome.
So, why not just ask for both, right? Because, when you have the option of asking for cool new toy and money, or both, ask for both,
We're paying you to take our Vives.
Or
Valve's Vives, I should say.
Thanks again, Valve. You guys are awesome.
Yep.
Yep. Cool. So that answers that. Yeah, any...
I didn't fully understand the question.
Okay.
I think what they're asking for is a way to take the blueprint code and generate kind of not human readable C++ that is just the data structures.
Oh, okay.
I don't think there's any plan for it, but it's an interesting idea.
All right, cool. Now we're running a little bit tight on time, so let's try to get in maybe just one more question here, and then that's about what we got. This is a lighting question here. Let's see here. Are there any plans to allow custom lighting models for materials?
Oh, we have that support already. Like, simply use a mobile when you can't afford the full deferred and our normal kind of lighting stuff. But I'm pretty sure we can do that already. I've never done it myself. It escapes me how to set it up. But I know we've made, like, for example, a game like PaperDuty doesn't use a regular lighting system. It uses a custom kind of shading system. But it might be what they're asking for is something that's a little more pluggable into, like, hey, I want to use actual, like, the engine's light sources and the engine's directional lights and use our kind of light relevance system. But I want to do the actual lighting math myself, maybe. Maybe that's what they're asking about. I'm not the best person to answer it, but I do know that another thing that's big on the list this year is how to get the renderer more extensible and generally configurable for projects and plugins. But I think we'll just talk about more about that on a different stream.
Okay, that works.
Any more good ones?
Well, there's a lot of stuff here about Dev Grants. I'm going to go ahead and run through these really fast since I know how to answer some of these. Instead of asking for money for a Dev Grant, can we ask for a new video card? No, but you can use the money for whatever you like. So buy yourself a nice video card with it if you'd like. But we don't send you direct video cards or hardware besides the Vive is a new thing. Other question is, at what state should our project be in before applying for a grant? At the state that you think it's going to look impressive to us, actually, is probably the best answer I have. It doesn't have to be done. It doesn't have to be published. It can be just getting started. Actually, some of them are brand spanking new, but they show off something kind of unique and fascinating. And when you look at it, you have to stop and go, wow, and all that. So I would suggest definitely at the point where you can show it through a video or some kind of demo so that we can like see it visually, or through very good screenshots or something. It doesn't have to have like the final like art. Like I said, we've actually had a few that are just programmer art in a very fancy project that showed off something unique. And that's it. It's just kind of like a impress us, we'll give you money, no questions asked. That's the end of that, because we trust that you'll do something cool.
I think it's good to mention too that if you have a plugin, that qualifies too, right? Like
plugins,
the Skookum script guys actually.
Absolutely. And it doesn't have to just be an Unreal Engine project. It actually, we approve books, we approved different programs for like educators and stuff, helping out their students. etc. So it doesn't have to be an actual UE4 project. It just has to be involved in the Unreal world, helping out Unreal developers or a part of like an Unreal project. So I hope that helps out you guys. We're starting to run a little over on time, so if there's anything else you want to throw in, Adam.
I think I covered everything I want to get through. Yeah, thanks so much for the contributions to GitHub and being a part of the community. It's pretty awesome. I'm really happy with where things are at with the engine. So
it's really great. I love that everybody's kind of like contributed this one. You see like a massive amount of devs. It's really great. And we've got. You notice we didn't have a Tuesday stream this Tuesday, but we are going to go back to regular Tuesday streams next week. UT streams are on Wednesdays. Of course, we're back on Thursdays, every Thursday. Next week is the Game Jam announcement, so be there for that. And we will all see you then. So thanks again, Mike, for coming out.
Yeah,
and
thanks.
See you around.